Hi there, and welcome to Quest for You, my podcast that is here to inspire you, to bring some reflection into your day on the things that maybe you would like to change in your life, to do better or more of. Maybe you're searching for purpose, for meaning, for some substance in your life. This is what I'm here for. And if you enjoy these episodes, if you've been listening for a while, I would love it if you buy me a coffee. You know I love coffee, and now you can contribute to my love by scrolling down on my homepage on quest4you.com, and there's a link to buy me a coffee. And if you do, I may even talk about where I got my coffee, because I do have my favorite spots here in Oakland and San Francisco and other areas where I know I can get a really good coffee. So thank you in advance. And let's talk about flow. Episode 243. Yesterday's episode leads us beautifully into today's topic. I shared my newfound passion of mountain climbing with you, a sport that engages me completely, mentally, physically, and emotionally. The danger that climbing brings, combined with the challenge it presents to my entire body, propels me to be extremely present, focused on every movement I make, aware of everything in my immediate environment, in tune with my body, my breath, and my mind, hyper alert, yet at the same time in complete stillness with myself, immersed in my task. A sport that confronts me with myself, my strengths and my weaknesses, my thoughts and beliefs about myself, the level of control I believe to have over the situation, and most of all, my fears. Those big dark holes that I always choose to ignore are suddenly wide open and visible, and I have to move right through. Giving up, staying comfortable, choosing the easy way down, these options don't exist on the face of a mountain 400 feet up in the air. A sport that has me so engaged and present that everything that seems to occupy my mind for hours suddenly doesn't exist anymore. Time, past or future, hunger or thirst, and any other worries I may have had on my mind prior. It's all reduced down to this very present moment, my next step, my thoughts about that step, and my physical strength to execute it. The one word that describes all of these experiences is the last word I used on yesterday's episode. Flow. A state of complete immersion in an activity. Flow was coined and studied by psychologist Mihaly, and his last name starts with C, and the rest I cannot pronounce. He describes the mental state of flow as being completely involved in an activity for its own sake. The ego falls away. Time flies. Every action, movement, and thought follows inevitably from the previous one, like playing jazz. Your whole being is involved, and you're using your skills to the utmost. Sounds about right for me when I climb. There have been other moments in my life when I experienced flow, but often for shorter periods of time and not to the same level of intensity. When I write, for example, or when I make jewelry, or when I exercise. But I've never experienced flow so strongly as when I climb. And that may explain why I love it so much. I believe everyone experiences flow at some point and in different ways. Whenever you're engaged in an activity that absorbs your entire being, you are in flow. This could be while performing a sport, such as skiing, tennis, soccer, dancing, or running, or during any creative activity, such as painting, drawing, or writing. Almost any activity can produce flow, provided the relevant elements are present. The experiences that I have during climbing are those typical elements of flow state. 1, it's challenging yet attainable. 2, there is a strong concentration and focused attention. 3, it's an intrinsically rewarding activity. 4, there are feelings of serenity, and a loss of feelings of self-consciousness. You just don't have much time to think about how you look when you hang against a mountain. 5. A feeling of timelessness. 6. There is immediate feedback. Every wrong step, I immediately know it. 7. It's a task that balances existing skills while presenting a challenge to push yourself. And we'll talk more about that. 8. There are feelings of personal control over the situation and the outcome. 9. There's a lack of awareness of physical needs. I definitely have that. And 10. There's complete focus on the activity itself. So flow occurs right in the middle between knowing you can do it, but not yet 100% sure of what the outcome will look like. You have the courage to begin the task, but you know that completing it will require pushing and extending yourself beyond your limits. Both the challenge and the skills are at high levels, stretching you to the limit. If the challenge exceeds your skills, then you could become anxious, frustrated, and likely discouraged. This doesn't mean you need to succeed all the time, but you should make some progress and see that with more practice and learning, you will get closer to your goal. This is very applicable for climbing. I would feel very discouraged climbing a mountain that requires techniques and strengths that I don't have yet developed. But there are others that I can climb, at least part of it, and those accomplishments give me the confidence to attempt increasingly harder problems. However, if your skills exceed your challenge, then you could become bored. In climbing, this is hardly the case, as most climbs offer some degree of difficulty, unless you're just really hiking up a mountain. But with any other activity, I can see this easily. When the skills are mastered and the task can be performed with eyes closed, then the key element for flow to occur is missing, and that is challenge. So watching TV and surfing the web may match your skill level, and you may feel like you're completely absorbed, but there is no obstacle to overcome. Flow is first and foremost a state of happiness and bliss. It comes from performing an activity we enjoy. But the more challenging the activity is, while at the same time remaining enjoyable, the more rewarding it is. We often use the word addictive for such activities because we keep going back to doing them. But being in flow is more complex than just being addictive. Flow can lead to improved performance as you continue to push and challenge yourself. You keep coming back because you want to climb a more challenging mountain, play a more difficult piece of music, and perform a more strenuous workout. Challenging yourself will raise your skill set, make you better, and improve your confidence and self-esteem. In seeking flow, we seek more than just another thrill. We seek to achieve mastery over a certain skill. And this is what makes the flow state more than just a nice time passed. Finding flow is finding yourself. It's discovering activities that fill your heart and your mind. And often, in those activities, you will find a connection to other parts of your life. I described some of that yesterday. Climbing is more than a sport. It confronts me with deeper parts of myself. The notion of giving up too soon, for example, of relaxing back into comfort zone. It teaches me to push a little harder, something I can take into other areas of my life. The word flow may sound like it's easy, but being in flow is hard work and continuous struggle. Yet every step higher I make brings joy, no matter how hard it was. And the higher I go, the better the view. I highly recommend that you also find that activity that brings you this state of flow. Start by looking for the things that bring you joy. I shared with you how climbing was not anywhere on my mind, but now looking back, it makes complete sense for me. It combines my thirst for physical exertion with my admiration for nature, plus a special passion for views from high above. It also exposes me to areas I still want to work on, such as my willpower and becoming more physically agile. Sometimes, like in my case, the activity that brings you flow doesn't stand out clearly to you. So you look at other aspects you enjoy, and then you experiment. Find what it is that makes you come alive inside. Invest time and effort into it, and do not settle for less. If you have to force yourself, if you're not looking forward to it, then leave it. And remember that flow occurs while doing. This following quote by Reinhold Messner describes it best. The wonderful things in life are the things you do, not the things you have. So when you make the conditions of flow a constant part of your everyday life, it's easy to see how the overall quality of your life will improve. Instead of the same old routines and mindless distractions, you're actively making more of yourself and your life. You're growing and adding a level of richness to your life that is not obtainable if you stay in your comfort zone. I like this quote by Mihaly. The best moments usually occur when a person's body or mind is stretched to its limits in a voluntary effort to accomplish something difficult and worthwhile. So I encourage you, welcome flow into your life. Seek challenges beyond your comfort zone. Risk something. And then start living your potential. Much love.